Well, hello again, folks. This is Mark. At the moment, I'm in chilly Amsterdam, mid to late November. This is a hub for me in between my conference dates in Dubai and coming up next week in Moscow, Russia, where it could even be colder than Amsterdam. But I wanted to talk about independence. Independence is something that very few of us have, unfortunately. And the way the world is right now, it's something that everybody needs to have. If you've been around me for any length of time, you know that I've constantly been talking about creating multiple sources of income or revenue. And when you can do that, you're not dependent on a job or a place of work. You're not dependent on outside sources so much that you really can't control. You may be very happy and comfortable in your job. You may be very well paid. It may stroke your ego as you've built a career in your profession, and that's all good. The fact of the matter is there's so much going on in the world today that there's just a lot of risk. We have to be aware of that risk, and we have to be able to manage it if the worst case scenario develops. Let's talk about that for a minute. And I'm sure you're well aware of what's going on in the world, but some people just aren't. So a real quick review, we've got geopolitical risk. What's going on between the US and China is very serious. What's going on with the Federal Reserve and how they're pumping up the economy with fiat currency, bailing out the banks who are sitting on a razor's edge as it regards to their reserves and their liquidity. Currently, there's a huge liquidity crisis going on in the banking industry. Follow what's going on with Deutsche Bank and the mountains and mountains of derivative investments that they're sitting on and how fragile that is and what it could mean to the entire global financial industry if we start to see cascading defaults. So we've got geopolitical risk, we've got financial risk, we've got the bubbles in the stock market and in real estate, which it just so happens have been caused by the Fed and the central banks who are pumping money into an economy that is failing. In my travels, I've traveled quite a bit this year, more than I normally do, and there seems to be a universal consensus amongst the professionals that I talk to. The global economy is slowing down, credit is tightening, currency supply is causing inflation, banks are becoming impossible to deal with, almost counter business in terms of the results that they get. They're chasing clients away faster than they can obtain new clients. And without spending more time on that, the world is basically in a mess. And so that's why your independence is so important. Now, let's talk about that. How do you create independence? Most people are not salespeople. They don't have experience in sales. They don't have experience in internet marketing. It's all kind of a big confused maze. And that's normal. So you should not feel that you cannot be independent because of this. There are some very simple programs that I could show you if you haven't seen them already. Chances are you have. that basically anybody can do and have success with. I'm talking, for one example, the gold business. Everyone loves gold, right? You know, I'm involved with Carrot Bars. On this particular trip, it's a 3-week trip. I travel business class. I stay in 5-star hotels. And I really enjoy myself. So 3 weeks of that, you can imagine the expense. Well, this entire trip for me has been financed by what I've generated in Carrot Bars. I've only been active in Carrot Bars for 9 months. This is the end of November. I really became active in it in February, March of this year. Despite the fact that I've actually signed up and registered in 2011, many years ago, and didn't do anything with it. So, in 9 months, let's see, last week I generated over €1,000 in commissions, and the week before was close to 4,000. And that can be done by anybody. There's a very simple strategy involved. The reason for that success is what? Not because I'm anyone special. It's because people understand the value of gold. They understand the value of the entire ecosystem that Carrot Bars provides, and the opportunities that it brings for all of us in the future. So that's exciting. We've recently done a webinar, which you may have seen, which generates passive profits, starting with a small amount of Bitcoin. You can generate, we have a strategy for generating up to 20% per month. Now go get a futures calculator, future value calculator, and calculate if you just put in $100 a month at 20% growth per month, where you would be in 3, 5, 10 years. Do that. Go to calculator.net, look up their future values calculator, and put that in. See what you come up with. Now, it's been said many times over, I'm sure you've heard it, that the way to becoming rich, or at least financially independent, is to find a way to make money while you sleep. And that's exactly what I'm doing with Carrot Bars, with the cloud token, and with virtually everything else that I do on the internet. All right? Heck, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm a hard-working middle-class guy just like anybody. And if I can do these things, you can do it too. Now, the beautiful thing is that while Carrot Bars is financing my trip here, I'm using this trip to leverage other business. So Carrot Bars is already doing well, generating consistent income. Get across the street before I get run over. And so I'm utilizing that to leverage that into developing other business, other sources of income. All right? And with the internet, the market's what they are. The time is now for you to be doing exactly that very thing. You don't have to be an expert in anything. Whatever you don't know, you can learn. You can get better. There are programs on the internet to train you in just about anything. What is it? Sales, internet marketing, networking. The opportunity for learning and growth has never been greater throughout history. Right? So this is your opportunity. And I just have to warn everybody that with what I see coming on the near horizon, if you don't start making moves to become financially independent, now you may never have another chance if things unfold the way they could unfold. I'm not saying what's going to happen. I'm not a gloom and doomer, but I am practical, and I am aware. So I structure the activities in my life accordingly, so that I'm prepared for what might come, and if it doesn't come, I'm just as well off and more secure in the process. All right, so it's just common sense. It's just pure common sense. So this is my call to you, to urge you to start exploring the opportunities for becoming financially independent. That doesn't mean you're going to get rich overnight. Financially independent simply means you can take care of yourself without depending on one job, one company, one location for work that, quite honestly, just may not be there tomorrow. It may not be there. And what if it's not? These are things we all have to think about. So there's some food for thought for you. I'd be happy to talk about these things. If you'd like to set up a strategy, if you'd like to have some clarification for any aspect of what I'm talking about here, obviously we can drill down a number of ways on a number of issues, and I'd be happy to do that. All right, so before my hand freezes off holding up this selfie stick, let me leave you with those thoughts, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. All right, take care.